bunches. This man can set the tone, and this man may no longer be needed in New York as Tom Thibodeau and Cal Bridges. First of all, he didn't go to Villanova, so that's a knock against him and the rest of that Knickerbockers team moving in a different direction. Chris, Julius Randle becomes eligible to sign a contract extension on Saturday, which could be worth up to $181.5 million over a maximum 4 years. That is per Fred Katz, New York Knicks beat writer for The Athletic. They asked the question, should the Knicks give it to him? And Chris, I liken this to a similar situation as the Pelicans with Brandon Ingram. I do not believe that the Knicks have been as open as the Pelicans have been that they want to move on from Julius Randle. But if you just look at the makeup of that team, I just don't really know where he fits anymore. And which is funny because at the same time, I do think they need more offense. Mm-hmm. I do think they need more offense, but the Julius Randle type of offense, I'm not sure how well it will vibe with them. Yeah. Brunson needs his touches. You add Mikal Bridges, who what is he, a third? I mean, you traded 18,000 first-round picks and for I guess a second or third option.
I would guess second.
So it's a confusing one because they do need. I still think they need more offense, but I don't know if they want that in the package of a Julius Randle. So I asked the question. Two questions, really. If you were the Knicks, would you pay him? That comes out, Chris, to an average of $45.3 million a year. If you were the Knicks, do you pay him? And obviously it would be a different amount if he were to go somewhere else. But would you trade him? And would you be interested in trading for him if you were any team? And of course, the Sacramento Kings, knowing just like the Pelicans, you're going to have to pay him at some point.
If I'm the Knicks, I probably don't re-sign him. I just feel like, they clearly, like you laid out perfectly, like they have a plan, and that plan is Villanova. Like it is not this Kentucky guy or anything like that. I kind of say that a little tongue in cheek, but seriously, like I just don't think that they want Julius Randle to be a part of their big three or their big whatever, however many.
I don't know what they have.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know if Josh Hart is considered a part of it. Is Dante Divac? I don't know.
They need somebody else, but I don't think they want it to be Julius Randle. It's a fit thing.
Yes, it is. Julius Randle likes to shoot the basketball. That's as clear and obvious as we can make it. Is this dude likes to be a scorer first and foremost, and everything else comes secondary in his game to his scoring. If he's not getting a certain amount of shots, the problem is he's the kind of guy who gets upset, and he's had a lot of frustrations in the past, and that's came out in a lot of different ways. There's been a couple talks about, him in the locker room being a problem as well. And I think he's gone through some work to try and get over that. But, it still has came up here and there every so often. If I'm a different team, I think I would take a flyer on him because, like you said, I mean, he is a really good scorer. He's been a guy who can get you buckets, and certain games he can carry you. Like he will have crazy, stupid stat lines.
He gets hot.
Yeah, he'll be like 30, 20, and 8 kind of games. Yeah. Like he can definitely go crazy for you for a week or two. But it's it's a tough one to figure out where he fits into a winning situation. Like the Knicks took off once he got, not specifically because he got hurt, but when they let Jalen Brunson start cooking, that's when they were playing their best basketball. And I think that's kind of the concern for any team that trades for him. Maybe honestly, a Julius Randle for Brandon Ingram trade might make a little bit of sense. I mean, I know he was on the Pelicans previously, and they really liked what he was bringing at that time. They were kind of in a different point of their rebuild, but I kind of feel like he's one of these guys that nobody actually is going to want, but everyone knows.
What do you call him?
What do I call? I mean,
a big D-Lo or a center version or a forward version of D-Lo.
He is very much like forward D'Angelo Russell, 100%. Where it's like, yeah, he'll put up the numbers, but
All-Star, by the way, in 2023.
Doesn't really help winning much. I think that's the concern, is if he's your best or second best player, I don't really know how far he's taking you, again, because he really just wants to be a scoring option first and foremost. His defense isn't really there. He's pretty undersized. He's listed at 6'8", probably plays more at like 6'9", and he's kind of a tweener. Like Sabonis is a little bit more height-wise as a center. If you're playing Julius Randle at your center, you're definitely undersized. And if he's your 4, it then becomes a question of defensively, I don't think Julius Randle's moving on the perimeter a ton. I don't want Julius Randle guarding guys like Keegan Murray, frankly. That's kind of where the push and pull comes with Julius. I always feel like I put people on the Heat, but like he feels like a Heat player to me. If he really wants to like thrive, that's the kind of situation. Maybe like Brooklyn where they don't have anything, though I can't imagine the Knicks and the Nets are going to make another deal together after everything that the Knicks had to give the Nets. So I don't really know where the perfect situation for him would be, but I definitely don't think it's Sacramento. And I feel like there's got to be a team out there, like the Lakers maybe get desperate enough, again, that we know that they're have a certain level of desperation. I think there's teams out there, a couple, that would be willing to take that risk. But $45 million is way too much for Julius Randle.
So you'd rather pay Brandon Ingram $50 million than Julius Randle $45 million?
Whoa, hey, hold on, partner. I don't know.
Because I'm looking here.
I don't know.
But let's just play with this.
Yeah, let's do it because I don't know.
Look, you know, the Knicks, they just want every role player they could find. What if the Knicks say, we don't know what to do with Julius Randle, Kevin Huerter, and Trey Lyles? It works right now. Kevin Huerter and Trey Lyles for Julius Randle. The problem is when you pay him, you probably are getting closer to that second apron, very similar to Brandon Ingram. That's why I asked the question.
Yeah.
But I'm doing Kevin Huerter and Trey Lyles for Julius Randle. I'm doing it.
Does that work? I don't know how much Julius Randle's making nowadays, but
he's making $28.9 million.
28. So okay, the Kings would still be a little bit short, but if you can get it done.
Oh, it's done in Fanspo.
Yeah, I don't know if they've updated. Yeah. I don't think I would do it. I mean, again, it is definitely a talent upgrade for sure, like 100% undeniably, but with that salary coming on the other end of it, I mean, maybe if you're just doing it for the half season and knowing like we don't really have any intention of signing this guy long term, but we just don't think this Kevin thing's going to work out for us, then maybe I could see it. But even then, I don't love it. That's for sure. I feel like I just don't know really how he fits. He's not really somebody who brings, like, again, DeMar, we can say there's other things that he brings to the floor, like, you know, like dribbling or like just straight isolation scoring or passing, things like that. He brings other stuff. Julius Randle is a really good passer, honestly. But
yeah, he averaged 5 assists last season.
But I just don't know, besides scoring and then, that little bit of passing, which is probably going to get downplayed with Sabonis here, I don't really know what he's going to bring your team if he's not your primary or secondary scorer.
To me, and I know he's not as big, but isn't he a lesser Lauri Markkanen in a way?
He doesn't shoot like Lauri. Not at all. Lauri Markkanen's like an absolute sniper.
I'm looking here, 31.1 from 3 point.
Definitely not. No.
Yeah, it's just the stretch the floor question, but he's a scorer though.
Yeah, I mean, he is a scorer, but he's more of a back to the basket scorer. He's going to post you up and he'll do turnaround jumpers. He's crazy athletic at the rim, but he's not standing on the perimeter at all.
So you're done. You're out on it.
Yeah, for the most part, especially again from the Sacramento perspective. But I think, there's teams out there that are a little bit more in limbo. Like the Bulls make a lot of sense for him. I'm not just trying to throw him on bad teams, but like the Pistons, he would be great on.
But hold on. Mm-hmm. You do have to answer the question. Would you rather pay Julius Randle on the Kings 45 or Brandon Ingram 50?
I'd probably rather pay Brandon Ingram because I would hope that I hope he has a higher ceiling and he's a 3. I just think that he's a little bit more versatile. You can maybe play Brandon Ingram as a really tall shooting guard if you really wanted to with his skill set. Play him at the 3. You can maybe play him at the 4. Julius, I'm pretty sure, is just a 4. Like I kind of said earlier, I feel like him at the 5, he's just a bit undersized, and defensively, he is a real like we think Sabonis is a liability. Julius Randle just doesn't care about defense. Yeah, I think I would rather do Brandon Ingram just because I think he's a better player and I think he's a little bit more versatile, even though you are paying more for it. And especially if you end up in the same hellhole anyway, I might as well have the better player between the two.
Yeah, between the two. And that's what makes it tough. And that's why
I don't want either of them at that dollar figure for what it's worth.
Right, right. And yeah, the 916 is saying neither.
Yeah.
We need length in defense. Right. If you're making me choose, again, I would choose Brandon Ingram, but I do think that Julius Randle is a very interesting fit. I mean, I even look at a team, I don't think they would do it, and I don't think they can afford to do it, honestly, but I mean, I think the Warriors need another scorer.
That works too. To be honest,
a bigger. None of their scores. It's just Kuminga, right? And I don't think that's too much of a redundancy there. But yeah, the Julius Randle situation has popped up, and I do liken it to the Brandon Ingram situation. I think that both teams are in similar situations. The Knicks have been a little bit more mums of the word about what they want to do with Julius, but they haven't really needed to say anything because we all know.
Yeah.
We all know. I mean, how many times last season did you forget? I know he was injured. Chris, there are about 3 different times I forgot Julius Randle was on that roster.
Yeah, no, especially by the time they hit the playoffs. I mean, they didn't, again, the problem is they didn't miss him. And that doesn't help your trade value at all either, is that your team gets pretty significantly better once you go out. It felt like everything just kind of opened up. Obviously, the role opened up for Jalen Brunson for him to start scoring 40 every night, which probably isn't ideal to your point of, I think they kind of need Julius Randle still. It's probably not good to bank on homeboy scoring 35 plus every single night. Like that's not going to last long.
Whoever, if you want to trade, here's the thing, very similar to what we talked about with Kuminga. If you're going to trade for Julius Randle, or if Julius Randle is going to stay on the Knicks, whatever the case is, and you alluded to it, he's 29 years old. You're in the midst of your prime. Somebody needs to have a conversation with him about what the rest of his career is going to look like. You're throwing tantrums when you don't get your touches. You don't want to compete defensively. You're not a winning player right now, and I think that's what you're saying. The Knicks need scoring, but the Knicks value winning players, and Tom Thibodeau values winning players over talent, right? So whoever, and if it's these teams with strong, and that's why I think you brought up the Heat, because Eric Spoelstra is saying, I don't give a dang who you think you are. No. This is what you're going to be for this team. There'll be days when you can cook.
Yes.
But you have to do certain things. You have to earn cooking.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You don't just get to wake up out of bed and say, I'm not going to do anything else besides score them. No, you cannot do that.
Yeah.
So I do think there are certain teams, and maybe the Kings, just with I think Mike Brown is strong enough to help Julius Randle in that capacity. But with the Kings, and I to your point, the reason I would have cause to pause is because you also added DeRozan. That's why we keep bringing up and I love bringing up different names nowadays, but that's why we keep bringing up the Jeremy Grants and the Cam Johnsons, because you're not really worried about
low maintenance
players, maybe not the same talent wise, right? But if this was
in a box,
you can fit him. You can fit him in a box, and that's exactly what the 916 is saying. So I think both of us would stay away, but I am more likely to take a chance on one Julius Randle, because talent is talent, as someone said yesterday on the text line. Get it in the building, and if it doesn't work, well, move somebody. It's that simple. Coming up next, Tyrese Halliburton thinks the Pacers are getting disrespectful. I mean, give me a break now. Just give me a break, Tyrese. Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Subscribe to Sactown